If you spend even 10 minutes searching for a bushcraft knife online, the internet starts acting like the answer is easy. One knife has 15,000 reviews. Another one gets called legendary in every survival forum. Another shows up in every Amazon recommendation list with the same promise. Razor sharp, bomb-proof, perfect for fire prep, feather sticks, shelter building, battening, food prep, and basically every outdoor task short of building a cabin from scratch. And after a while, it starts to feel like every knife is the greatest bushcraft blade ever made. But here's the problem. Best-selling doesn't always mean best performing. Sometimes a knife becomes popular because it's cheap. Sometimes it becomes famous because YouTube made it famous. Sometimes people keep buying the same model simply because it's the first thing everyone recommends to beginners. So in this video, we're doing something different. We're not ranking the most expensive customs. We're not building another fantasy, ultimate survival knife, list full of blades most people will never carry. We're looking at 10 of the bushcraft knives people actually buy. We're asking the question most countdowns avoid. Does the knife actually live up to the hype once it leaves the box and hits real wood, real weather, and real camp chores? Can it carve clean feather sticks? Can it survive battening without feeling sketchy? Does it stay comfortable after an hour of work? Or does the handle turn your hand into a complaint department? Is it a true bushcraft tool, or just a knife with a good marketing story? That's what this countdown is about. 10 best-selling bushcraft knives. 10 reality checks. Let's dive in. Number 10. BPS Adventurer. Kicking off the list at number 10 is a knife that perfectly represents the budget bushcraft temptation every outdoors person eventually runs into. The BPS Adventurer. If you've spent any time hunting for an affordable fixed blade on Amazon, you've probably seen this knife, or one of its close cousins, pop up again and again. And the reason is obvious. On paper, it sounds almost too good to be true. You get a classic bushcraft style blade, a full tang setup, a leather sheath, a wooden handle, and a price that undercuts a huge chunk of the market. That combination makes the Adventurer incredibly attractive to beginners, budget-minded campers, and anyone who wants a real bushcraft knife without immediately spending premium money. But that's where the real question begins. Does it actually work once the novelty wears off? And honestly, yes, with an asterisk. The BPS Adventurer is one of those knives that can surprise you because it feels more serious than its price suggests. For basic bushcraft tasks, feather sticks, carving tent pegs, food prep, slicing cordage, and light camp utility, it absolutely gets the job done. The blade geometry is generally friendly to woodwork, the overall shape feels familiar and usable, and the knife carries that old-school outdoors vibe that makes it fun to bring into the field. But this is also where you start to feel the difference between great value and top-tier performance. The finish can be rougher than premium knives. Fit and finish aren't always as polished. The steel will absolutely demand maintenance if you're careless with moisture. And while it can handle work, it doesn't always give you that deep, confidence-inspiring, I could abuse this all weekend feeling the best bushcraft knives provide. In other words, the Adventurer is not fake hype, but it is budget hype. It works because it offers a very real entry point into bushcraft without asking for much money, and for a lot of buyers that's enough. It's a good knife. It's a fun knife. It's a smart buy for the money. But it's also a reminder that popularity and perfection are not the same thing. Number 9. Condor Terasaur. We've got one of the most interesting knives in the modern budget bushcraft world because the Condor Terasaur feels like a knife designed specifically to answer one question. What if someone wants the spirit of a Mora Garberg, but with Condor's own take on a tougher, full-tang field knife? And the result is a blade that has quietly become one of the most compelling, everyday bushcraft options in the Amazon survival crowd. The Terasaur doesn't win people over through flashy marketing. It wins because it looks like it means business. Thick blade stock, full tang construction, molded handle scales, Scandi-style cutting behavior, and that unmistakable Condor field tool personality. It all signals the same thing. This knife wants to work. So does it actually live up to the hype? In a lot of ways, yes. The Terasaur feels genuinely bushcraft first. It wants to carve. It wants to bite into wood. It wants to make feather sticks, process kindling, and spend a full day doing camp chores without feeling out of place. That matters because a lot of survival knives are secretly bad at the fine, repetitive woodwork that bushcraft actually revolves around. The Terasaur doesn't have that problem. It feels like it understands the assignment. The handle is comfortable enough for extended use, the blade shape is practical, and the overall build gives off a reassuringly rugged vibe. But here's the honest part. The Terasaur isn't perfect either. It's a knife that earns respect more through usefulness than refinement. It can feel a little chunky compared to slimmer carvers. Some users love the overbuilt feel. Others wish it had a little more slicing grace. And because it sits in that hard-use budget bushcraft lane, it can sometimes feel more like a robust outdoor tool than a laser-focused carving specialist. But that's not a deal breaker. It's part of the identity. Number 8. Morakniv Companion Spark. We hit a knife that feels almost unfair to judge by normal standards because the Morakniv Companion Spark is not trying to be a giant, full-tang, apocalypse-proof wilderness blade. It's trying to be something arguably more important, a ridiculously practical, affordable, beginner-friendly bushcraft knife that people can actually carry, actually use, and actually enjoy without overthinking every scratch. And that's exactly why Mora knives keep showing up in Amazon bestseller lists and bushcraft recommendation threads year after year. The Companion Spark takes the classic Mora formula: lightweight, comfortable, sharp, simple, and adds one feature that instantly makes it more appealing to the survival crowd: a built-in ferro rod. That one addition changes the psychology of the knife. Suddenly, it isn't just a cheap fixed blade. It becomes a self-contained grab-and-go outdoor tool that feels ready for real camp use the moment it comes out of the package. But here's the real question: does it actually work, or is it just popular because it's inexpensive and convenient? The answer is that the Companion Spark absolutely works, as long as you understand what it is and what it isn't. This knife is excellent at the actual craft side of bushcraft. Feather sticks, food prep, slicing, trimming, making fuzz sticks, carving steaks, shaving bark, opening packaging, and doing all the light to medium camp chores that make up most outdoor trips. The Mora eats those tasks alive. It's comfortable, efficient, and far more capable than its price tag suggests. But if you start treating it like a sharpened pry bar or a thick, full tang-batten monster, you're misunderstanding the mission. The Companion Spark is not here to win brute force contests. It's here to be the knife that quietly outperforms expectations over and over again because it cuts better than many heavier knives and asks almost nothing from your wallet. That's why it's such a dangerous value proposition. It doesn't just get recommended because it's cheap. It gets recommended because it makes people realize they may not need a giant expensive survival knife to enjoy bushcraft at all. Number 7. Mora Kansbol. It is one of the most interesting knives Mora has ever made because the Mora Kansbol feels like the brand looking at its own fanbase and saying, what if we build something that sits halfway between a bushcraft knife and a lightweight field knife? The result is a blade that has become wildly popular among hikers, hunters, campers, and bushcrafters who want one knife that can do a little bit of everything without feeling too specialized. And that versatility is exactly why the Kansbol sells so well. It looks clean, practical, and modern without losing that Mora DNA people already trust. But does it actually work for bushcraft? Or is it just a compromise knife that pleases everyone a little without truly satisfying anyone? The honest answer is that the Kansbol is a very good knife, but it's also one of the easiest knives on this list to misunderstand. The first thing you notice is that it doesn't behave like a chunky survival blade. It feels light, nimble, and fast in the hand. The blade shape encourages slicing, controlled cuts, and food prep more than brute force with splitting. That's not a flaw. It's the reason so many people end up loving it. The Kansbol is fantastic for the real-life side of outdoor use. The actual tasks you do all day at camp, when you're not trying to impress YouTube with baton shots through firewood thicker than your wrist. It carves well, preps meals well, trims cordage easily, and carries comfortably enough that you'll actually want it with you. But this is where the does it actually work? Angle becomes important. If your definition of bushcraft is heavy battening, hardcore shelter construction, and using your knife like a compact axe, the Kansbol is not the obvious king of that category. It's more of a woods companion than a woods bully. And honestly, that's part of its charm. It's a knife for people who understand that bushcraft is often about skill, efficiency, and control, not just force. Mora basically built a blade that feels like it belongs on the belt of someone who hikes all day, cooks at camp, carves by the fire, and still wants a knife capable enough to handle real survival chores if needed. Number 6. BK2 Companion. Now we're entering the part of the list where the knives stop being merely practical and start feeling almost mythological, because the BK2 Companion has spent years building a reputation as one of the most overbuilt bushcraft and survival knives normal people can actually buy. If the Mora crowd represents efficiency and clean woodcraft, the BK2 represents the opposite end of the spectrum. Thick steel, heavy construction, and the kind of "I dare you to break me" attitude that makes people treat it like a sharpened crowbar with a campfire resume. It's one of the most talked about knives in survival circles, one of the most bought heavy-duty fixed blades on Amazon, and one of the easiest knives on this list to romanticize. So let's ask the real question: does it actually work as a bushcraft knife, or is it mostly famous for being absurdly tough? The answer is both, and that's exactly what makes the BK2 so interesting. There's no denying the appeal. The BK2 feels indestructible. It can batten aggressively, smash through ugly camp tasks, split wood with confidence, and tolerate the kind of misuse that would make lighter bushcraft knives nervous. If your version of outdoor life leans toward rough camps, hard-use utility, wet weather, and one knife to survive bad decisions, the BK2 absolutely makes sense. But here's the part many hype videos skip. The BK2 is not a graceful bushcraft carver out of the box. It's thick, it's heavy, it's overbuilt, and while that gives it a legendary toughness factor, it also means it doesn't always glide through finer woodcraft tasks the way a Mora or Scandi-focused knife does. Feather sticks can be done, carving can be done, notching can be done, but you feel the knife's priorities. This blade was not born to be delicate. It was born to endure. That's why the BK2 is such a polarizing, does it actually work, knife. If you want a camp brute that can split, pry, batten, and shrug off abuse, the hype is real. If you want a pure bushcraft scalpel for long carving sessions and elegant woodwork, the BK2 is not the most natural choice in the world. But maybe that's the wrong way to judge it. The BK2 isn't popular because it's the prettiest bushcraft knife. Number 5. Joker Campero. The list takes a turn towards something more traditional, more refined, and in many ways more pure bushcraft than the heavy bruisers around it. Because the Joker Campero feels like a knife built by people who genuinely understand why bushcrafters obsess over comfort, control, and blade feel. This isn't a survival tank trying to look intimidating. It's a woods knife, and a very serious one. The Campero has earned a loyal following because it nails a lot of the little things that matter once you've moved past beginner hype and started paying attention to how a knife actually behaves over a long day outdoors. The handle feels natural. The blade profile feels purposeful. The overall experience feels like it was designed for someone who expects to carve, slice, feather, prep food, and spend real time using the knife rather than just posing with it beside a ferro rod on Instagram. So does it actually work? Honestly, this is one of the easiest yes answers on the entire list, but with a very specific audience in mind. The Campero works exceptionally well if your version of bushcraft is actual bushcraft. Carving, controlled wood processing, camp tasks, food prep, and the kind of steady hands-on use where comfort and geometry matter more than theatrical toughness. The blade wants to bite into it cleanly. It wants to make feather sticks. It wants to do that deeply satisfying one more cut kind of work where you suddenly look up and realize you've been carving for 40 minutes. That's the Campero's superpower. It doesn't just survive bushcraft tasks, it makes them feel enjoyable. And that's something a lot of overbuilt survival knives can't say. But to keep this honest, the Campero is not trying to be a BK2 style demolition tool. It's not here to replace a hatchet in every situation. It's not trying to win the most absurd batten test on YouTube Championship. It's here to be a beautifully balanced, field-competent bushcraft knife that rewards actual technique. That's a different kind of strength, and it's why people who own one tend to talk about it with almost suspicious affection. The Campero feels like a knife that quietly becomes a favorite rather than loudly demanding attention on day one. Number 4. ESE4 is one of those knives that has been recommended so many times by so many people in so many "what knife should I buy?" conversations that it almost feels bigger than the product itself. It's one of the most trusted names in survival and field knives, and for a lot of buyers, owning an ESE is less like making a purchase and more like joining a club. That kind of reputation can be dangerous because it creates sky-high expectations. So the obvious question is this: does the ESE4 actually deserve the legendary status, or has it simply become one of those knives people recommend because other people recommend it? The good news is that the ESE4 has real substance behind the hype. The first thing it does well is confidence. This knife feels ready. The proportions are solid, the handle feels trustworthy, the construction inspires abuse, and the blade has that no-nonsense, "I'm here to work" personality that makes it immediately attractive for outdoor use. In the field, the ESE4 is one of those rare knives that can move comfortably between survival and bushcraft roles without feeling confused about its identity. It can carve and prep camp tasks well enough to satisfy most outdoors users, but it also feels sturdy enough that you're not terrified to batten it, scrape with it, or ask more from it when conditions get rough. That balance is exactly why the knife has endured. It's not the absolute best slicer on the list, and it's not the most specialized carver, but it's one of the best all-around outdoor fixed blades money can buy if you want one knife that can wear multiple hats. Now the honest part, the ESE4's popularity sometimes causes people to talk about it like it's the final answer to every knife question, and that's where expectations need a little reality. It's not magic. It still requires maintenance if you choose carbon steel and live in wet environments. It's not as laser-focused on woodcraft as a true Scandi bushcraft knife. And depending on your hand size or task preference, there may be knives you enjoy more for long carving sessions. But none of that changes the core truth. The ESE4 absolutely works. Number 3. Tops B.O.B. Fieldcraft. We've got a knife that practically wears its mission on its sleeve. The Tops B.O.B. Fieldcraft. B.O.B. stands for Brothers of Bushcraft, and that alone tells you exactly what this knife is trying to be. A purpose-built field blade created for people who don't just want a generic survival knife, but a tool specifically shaped around the realities of bushcraft, campcraft, and self-reliant outdoor living. And to its credit, the Fieldcraft doesn't feel like a gimmick built around a cool acronym. It feels like a knife that was genuinely thought through by people who understand what happens once you leave the parking lot and start actually depending on your gear. So does it live up to the hype? For the right user, absolutely. The Topps B.O.B. Fieldcraft has a personality that's very different from a Mora or a Condor Terasaur. It feels more robust, more premium, and more intentionally survival-ready, but without losing the features that matter for actual bushcraft work. The blade profile is useful, the handle is shaped for extended control, and the knife overall feels like it was designed to do the full outdoor routine. Carving, feathering, notching, scraping, meal prep, light battening, and all the ugly utility work that comes with camp life. It has that rare quality where it looks serious enough to reassure survival-minded buyers while still feeling nimble enough to be enjoyable in wood. That's a hard balance to strike, and it's one of the biggest reasons the knife has stayed so relevant. But this is also where the does it actually work? Angle matters, because the B.O.B. Fieldcraft isn't cheap, and once a knife gets expensive, people expect it to feel transformational. The reality is more grounded. It's not going to magically make someone better at bushcraft. It won't replace skill, and it won't outperform physics. The handle comfort, spine usability, and overall field readiness are all very real strengths. The knife feels like it was designed to be used, not just admired. So yes, the hype is justified, but it's justified in a mature way. This isn't hype because it's trendy. It's hype because the Fieldcraft actually delivers a premium bushcraft experience and avoids the common trap of becoming too tactical, too thick, or too awkward to enjoy. Number 2. Mora Garberg. This knife has spent years being recommended as the answer to almost every beginner and intermediate bushcraft question on the internet. Want a full-tang Mora? Garberg. Want a serious Scandi knife that can batten? Garberg. Want a knife that feels like a step up from the Companion without jumping straight into premium custom territory? Garberg. The knife has become so widely recommended that at some point the recommendation itself became part of the product's identity. So the only fair question is the most important one. Is the Garberg actually that good? Or has it simply become the internet's default bushcraft answer out of habit? Here's the truth. The Garberg is one of the few knives on this list that almost completely survives the weight of its own hype. It doesn't do that because it's flashy. It does it because it understands bushcraft at a very fundamental level. The Scandi grind bites into it beautifully. The full-tang construction gives people the confidence they want for harder use. The spine is useful. The handle is practical in ugly weather. And the overall package feels like it was built for someone who wants to do actual outdoor work rather than role-play at it. The Garberg carves well, makes feather sticks well, handles general camp tasks well, and sits in that sweet spot where it feels much more serious than a beginner knife without becoming so overbuilt that it loses its bushcraft soul. That's why people love it. Some people dislike the handle shape. Number 1. Morakniv Bushcraft Black. At number 1, we have a knife that might be the most honest answer to this entire video's question, the Morakniv Bushcraft Black. Because if the Garberg is the internet's favorite, serious Mora, the Bushcraft Black is the knife that quietly reminds everyone why Morakniv became such a dominant force in bushcraft in the first place. It doesn't rely on brute force mystique. It doesn't try to be the heaviest or the toughest blade on the shelf. It wins by doing the actual work of bushcraft absurdly well. And that's why, out of all the best-selling knives on this list, it may be the one that most cleanly turns hype into reality. The Bushcraft Black feels like Mora taking everything people already loved about their outdoor knives: sharpness, comfort, simple geometry, field usefulness, and dialing it specifically toward bushcraft users who care about firemaking, carving control, and all-day comfort. The blade is efficient in wood. The spine works with a ferro rod. The grip feels secure without becoming bulky. And most importantly, the knife has that almost addictive, just one more cut quality that the best bushcraft blades always seem to have. You start making feather sticks, and suddenly you realize you've been smiling for 10 minutes because the knife is simply doing exactly what you hoped it would do. That matters a lot, because the best bushcraft knife isn't necessarily the one that can survive the most ridiculous abuse test on YouTube. It's the one that makes real camp tasks feel easy, predictable, and satisfying. The Bushcraft Black absolutely delivers that. It's comfortable enough for long sessions, capable enough for serious camp use, and affordable enough that people don't have to treat it like a sacred object. And that combination is incredibly powerful. Now, if you're the type of person who wants full-tang bragging rights or plans to use your knife like a compact splitting wedge every weekend, you may still lean toward the Garberg or a heavier blade. That's fair. But for actual bushcraft, the craft itself, the Bushcraft Black is brutally convincing. It's the knife that makes you stop caring about marketing and start caring about what's in front of you: the wood, the fire, the shelter, the meal, the task.